Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of DaveyATalks. Now, before we get into the episodes, just to make you aware, this is a pre-recorded conversation with my returning guest, Mr. Jack Bowman, a rather esteemed audio director, audio artist, voiceover artist, I might say, amongst other things. We're going to be talking about the still ongoing and really successful journey of a great horror project that started in my previous podcast, I Give That 10 Minutes episode, back in October, about London After Midnight. There's been some more progression and the success has continued with it, as mentioned, so hopefully some fun things coming your way. Thanks for your time, thanks for pressing play, and enjoy the episode. Have you got a drink to hand? Are you comfortable?
I'm comfortable. I've had a beer earlier, so I better not have any more. First beer in a week.
Well, it's always a milestone when you have to go without for a while and then you have that lovely treat of a beer. So,
yes,
so well done. I'm just glad that, I can provide green room with enough beers to keep you going. Oh, wait, there's no green room. Oh, yeah, sorry. This is not like Graham Norton or something, it's not that kind of show. Sadly. One day I will have a studio and I will have guests coming in. I will treat them like royalty that they are.
Indeed.
Everyone, this is Mr. Jack Bowman, a very esteemed audio director, audio producer, director, media sensation, all right downright legends, and a chap that I'm very fortunate to have chatted to before. If you haven't listened to me before, you may remember I used to do a podcast called I Give That 10 Minutes. And in last year's episode in October, focused around Halloween, Jack and I discussed a really good audio drama based on classic bits of cult horror, London After Midnight. Now, this particular audio drama has had great success and received great honours around the world. But the journey's far from over. There's continuations in this great story. It's why Jack very kindly offered to come back on and talk about all things LAM, as I'm now calling it, and more. Everyone, let's just give a big welcome to Mr. Jack Bowman. Hello, sir.
Oh, thank you, Davey. How are you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be back. It's nice to have a returning guest who we've had a bit of a chat with in the past and had a great time talking about aforementioned London After Midnight. But as I say, there's more to the story. There's things that have happened since we've last chatted. Where in the world has this amazing audio drama taken you?
Well, for listeners who haven't listened to our first chat, just for a bit of context, what we did last year is there is an extraordinarily sought-after piece of missing film history, a silent movie from 1927 called London After Midnight, starring Lon Chaney, destroyed in the MGM vault fire of 1965, and it is the Holy Grail. People are desperately seeking to find this film because of its impact upon horror and vampire culture, or subculture within film in particular. Remade as Mark of the Vampire, Bela Lugosi, who I'm sure once we start getting into these names, vampires, Bela Lugosi, it all starts to become apparent. But it all began with London After Midnight. And last year, we had the crazy idea of taking that lost silent film where next to nothing exists apart from a few photos and a screenplay, and adapting it into a full-length audio drama, a sort of one-of-a-kind audio movie. And that's what we did. And you can go back to the other podcast to find out about, how we got Art Malik on board. Brilliant Art Malik, True Lies, Little Mermaid, James Bond, you name it, he's done it. And Dan Starkey, a whole huge cast of people who literally came into play for a couple of days. But I think last time we spoke, we were just at the point where it had all been locked. We sent out preview copies, we sent copies to you, and everything was gearing up for the big Halloween release. And it actually went incredibly well.
It
did. Which is you can't actually bank on. So where we're at right now. So obviously that first month we're sending out the review copies to people such as yourself and other bloggers and magazines. And the big nervous point for us there is the fact that even though the original movie made $1 million in 1927, which is a lot of cash now. It was something of a box office sensation at the time. The original movie actually got critically pounded a lot.
Wow.
And, a lot of critics look back and went, oh, you don't miss anything. I just see this film. It's terrible. Right. A load of Harry old rubbish, stuff like that. And the thing that had always impressed me with Lance and Kenton was like how they use a screenplay to be so faithful to the original story. I mean, literally, we've barely changed anything that we've had to touch at all. And for me, the next worry was that once we were out there, would it just look like us trying to, fill a gap by replacing a bit of missing media by, you know, in the same way some fans are critical of their Doctor Who animations to replace the 10th Planet episode 4, right? But actually, the most extraordinary thing happened. Like, review after review has come in since then, and not one person has knocked it at all. They've not faulted the story, the plotting, the character work. You know, they talk about the performances of Dan and Art in particular having really great chemistry. But the thing that people keep coming back to, and this is what I think I'm most delighted with, is I think we've proved London After Midnight was actually genuinely a brilliant piece of storytelling. We certainly like our version a lot. And I can say we didn't change that much. You know, we condensed the ending a little bit just, you know, for the number of cast. But so, yeah, I mean, if Rotten Tomatoes did audio drama, we would still be 100% fresh, which is extraordinary. I was honestly expecting someone to pile in with the stiffy kind of, yeah, London After Midnight, never that good. Yeah, kind of attitude. But no, all the reviewers have been absolutely glowing. It's like reached out to, you know, we check what people are saying online about it. They're very much enjoying it. The sound design as well was a big thing we never anticipated because, you know, we used Dolby Atmos to mix it and then pulled a mix out of Dolby Atmos, which is like cinematic standards. And, you know, we had people like Larry from the Horror Society of Kenya.
Wow.
Apparently it's big in Kenya now. It's huge. Coming back going like that for them, it was like seeing dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Whoa. In terms of what the sound did to them. So another thing I think, you know, is quite humbling is that this is a lot of people's first experience of Dolby Atmos, and that I think is starting to change the game. So the more people that listen to this, and please do grab a copy, the more people that listen to it will start to realize that there is a new gold standard out there for sound design in Dolby Atmos. So it's been very curious to see sort of like the critics and the horror fans and the audio fans sort of like this Venn diagram of intersecting, and in the middle, London After Midnight's been there, which has just been, oh gosh, it's more than you can hope for, isn't it? You know, I often expect someone is not going to like it somewhere, but touchwood, so far that hasn't happened.
I mean, that's got to be a huge sense of relief to know that you've taken upon this project, not knowing how it's going to be received, and just get amazing reviews.
You know, you can't stop what reviewers say, and you know, as someone once taught me, the only reviews that really hurt are the ones that you know are right when someone identifies what's wrong. But you know, something has been very, very blessed about the whole project from start to finish. The script came in, the script was great. Casting came in, the casting was great. 2 days in production mostly went without a hitch, barring us losing one actor, which that's how Dan ended up stepping in. Then it comes out, and that's the point you think your luck's going to run out. And it's just been brilliant, honestly. I've been on some productions where it's been worse than pulling teeth since day one. What's the opposite to you know? This is a good trip to the dentist. No, that's not quite right. But I can't honestly work out which nun I must have inadvertently saved crossing the roads for London After Midnight to have this much blessed luck as a production, because inevitably it wasn't perfect, as I said, but to, you know, really for it to be, well, we lost one actor and then we got Dan Starkey instead, who was brilliant. It's like, looking back, there wasn't actually, you know, getting Dan was a blessing, you know, 15 minutes notice. So, which it literally was. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's given us the confidence to sort of sit back and think, yeah, now's the point where the audio is out there, it's available. The CDs have all but sold out, which has been brilliant. There are some vinyls left because we're doing physical media as well. We ended up picking up 3 distribution deals on it, with a 4th to very soon lock in as well. Like, people are hearing it and they want to put it on their networks and, you know, stuff like that. So it's for something that just sort of started as a bit of a strange little, can we do this? It seems to be going into some very lovely places, and it seems, you know, we're looking after it, and every single day, you know, the more we look after it, the more it seems to give back to us, which is brilliant.
That's fantastic. It's been such an interesting journey to kind of witness, especially because I've listened to it myself and thoroughly enjoyed it and was really immersed in it. To see that people are latching onto it and enjoying it, it just shows that sometimes the gamble is worth taking.
I know, and I gotta say, like, for people who, you know, are doing this kind of podcast work as well, I think the big game changer in the last 2 years has been that film festivals now accept audio content at festival level.
Oh, wow, okay.
If we'd held it back, we could have probably got a premiere at somewhere like Tribeca, for example.
Mm.
Right, and that's no small potatoes, or South by Southwest, but we just going out there. A good friend of mine called Ned Donovan. If you got gamer listeners who have access to Plex, he's got a series called Encounter Party out at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, he runs a festival, and he said, "I'd sign it up here, and if you want to put London into London after midnight into it next year, you can." And he can't do me any favors, by the way. It's like I've been a judge for him. It is like the most democratic process of getting into the New Jersey Web Fest. But from there, it became apparent that there was a couple more people who might be interested in running at a festival level.
Yeah.
So we went, okay. So thanks to Ned, we popped it in. We were on that system. A couple of people picked it up, and then boom. I think it only took about 2 weeks before it was the best audio drama at the Swedish International Film Festival.
Wow.
And then boom, it dropped another award win, literally Beyond the Curve in Paris about 2 weeks after that. We went, oh, okay. So we're on this very, very strange snowball right now where we're looking at over 40 festivals asking us to carry it.
God.
So
it's like global domination.
I hope so. Because, weirdly, the only country so far where we've had no traction about it on that level is the UK. But everywhere else, like France, Germany, Sweden, Mexico, we just found out.
Oh my God. What is going on with the UK?
I don't know. But I totally blame Ned for just saying he'd like London After Midnight on this system because he wanted to put it forward to the New Jersey Web Fest. But from there, it's just been like bam, 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 bam. So we're up to now 6 award wins, basically.
Wow,
which is
congratulations.
Yeah. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, at the minute, it's your Oppenheimer.
Oh.
And I went, oh, okay, well, let's ride the horses back a bit. But looking back already, in the space of it's been out 2.5 months, it's picked up far more award traction than even something like the Spring Hill Saga, which is probably the thing. But that was over 3 years. We won 3 series. We won like all these different awards for it. And already London After Midnight's level pegging after 2.5 months out the gate as a solo production. So yeah, it's been bonkers.
What do you think's the secret behind it being so successful in such a short amount of time?
Good question. I would always argue it starts with a good script. I think I said this on the last podcast we did, but I wouldn't have started it unless the script was good.
Yeah.
Right. And you get scripts that come in and you can see they need work and directions. And even then, sometimes you can make the right calls and the direction of travel and development of a script can still go the wrong way.
Yeah.
All right. That's why we end up with films with so many reshoots. It's a lot of people making the right decisions that for some reason don't pan out. But I think it is hard. It did respect the original source material. The original source material must have been a lot better than people have given it credit for. I'm not saying that if the film turned up tomorrow, we wouldn't laugh and say certain things are hokey and hammy because it's 1927 silent horror film execution. But at the core of it, there is a very, very good thriller horror mystery. And Lance and Kenton teased that out. And when I got that script, I knew it was great. I knew it was brilliant. I knew it could be something very, very special. But you never know that. And you never know if other people could see it. But for whatever it was, that secret sauce from day one of that first draft arriving clearly permeates through because, Art Malik, for want of a better word, he doesn't want to come out of play with his model trains in his home down in the southwest of England anymore, right? And he admits he drives his agents nuts because he turns down a lot of work. But he got the script and he saw it and he went, "Oh, this is brilliant." You see what I mean? So I think every step of the way, once we got that script through the pre-production and production, post-production period, what we had to do was make the script as watertight and as supported and as brilliantly executed as possible because it was a brilliant script. And I think that's what people are responding to. And I tell you what, I take this as the ultimate badge of honor. And I talked to Kenton about it because this is the first time in a long time I've had a co-director, and certainly the first time I've officially had one. He said, not trying to antagonize any legal people with NDAs that may be signed. But if you read the reviews that are out there for us, the one thing they all praise it. They love the acting, the sound design, the story, as I said, the pacing. They all say it's a massively big game changer in terms of immersive audio. Do you know the one thing that no one ever praises or even notes in any of those reviews, which tells me we've done our job right? No one ever says it's brilliantly directed.
Why not?
Because the work should be, as a director, invisible.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so for me, directing is about teasing out what works and teasing in what works and teasing out what doesn't. So if you've got an experience where almost everything is perfect, but one person's delivery is slightly off, or they're playing it in a different tone or something like that, their performance sticks out, which then reminds you how well directed the rest of the piece is. But with this, no one has said a dicky bird about how well they feel it's directed. And I said to Kenton, badge of honor, because that means nobody has noticed our work there.
Okay.
And I assume that means we've done it right.
Clearly, this kind of monumental success is key to directors' input. And like you say, a great cast, a great script. You know, it's a mixture of amazing acting, fantastic audio quality, a really enticing plot.
Yes.
And, you know, just put together, give this really polished product. It's why it's done so well.
I was going to say, because like you can have something special, and believe me, I've worked on a lot of things where the script is special. But I think one of the things that, again, I talk about blessings on this. Sometimes it can be an absolute ache to explain to actors why their script is special and it's different, because they're just going, it's another job, or whatever, direct and pretentious, whatever. But I also do get a sense from the cast that they're very protective of this piece. They're very nurturing of it. And it's the easiest thing in the world. Once you've done something, move on, next job. Oh, it's out. I'll just like a tweet and move on. No, I still regularly talk to the cast and say, oh, congratulations, you just, won your 5th or 6th award. Hey. And, they all pretty much individually email back and said, oh my God, this is fantastic. And they go out and they retweet, So, you can't, again, this is a kind of lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle?
No, okay.
It's something in a bottle.
It's something in a bottle. It's a lightning in a bottle moment where, all the casts are really proprietorial and proud of it.
Yeah.
Because most projects, you might get 1 or 2 actors who really push themselves because it might be a bit of a break, or others who just do it because publicly they're obliged to. And that's the thing to remember. Our cast aren't, because when we were recording this, there was an actor's strike on. Their notes did give them full permission not to engage with any publicity if they chose not to, in solidarity with SAG-AFTRA, and we respected that. But since that strike has gone, the gloves have come off, and the cast I've never seen a cast who sort of fight for it, even like 3-4 months after release, to say, yeah, this is good, and I'm proud of it.
And rightly so. This is although it's been a couple of months into the journey, there's been more developments. This London After Midnight story is yet to be finished. Long may it continue, but there's another aspect that people can consume. I believe a book is coming out.
Yes, that's one of the things we mold quite early doors, was like a companion book to go with it. So a lot of the production skills I learned, that there are courses you can take, but there aren't courses for producing audio drama per se. If you're internal with the BBC, they'll teach you these kind of things, I'm sure. But for me, one of the things that got me here where I am today overall, I'm going to get very nerdy here, but on BBC 3 back in the day, there used to be a companion show to Doctor Who called Doctor Who Confidential.
Yes,
right? And every single week, they would take you behind an aspect of production.
Yeah.
And I absorbed those like the plague, because, within about a year or 2 after Confidential coming out, I was starting to move to directing, writing, producing, that kind of stuff for audio. And there's a lot of episodes in there which had a kind of cross-educational tracks that I could use.
Okay.
I mean, I'm never going to use green screen on audio, because, quite frankly, our screen's superb. And so like we were talking about the idea of a companion book, and I've been asked to write a book before about audio production. For me, it was like, well, there's a very, very good book on audio and podcast production that already exists. And that's The Bomb Always Beeps by Casey Whalen. Why would I want to do something like that? That book is brilliant. And then the other side of it was, well, it was suggested, can we talk about the making of London After Midnight? And I was like, Well, we can, but for me, it's not particularly exciting. But then the moment came when there was a crossover moment where I went, okay, so people want to know about making audio, scripted audio and audio drama.
Yeah.
So let's frame it through the lens of what it took to make London After Midnight over those basically it's the 10 months
Yeah.
from January through to the audio drama coming out early November. So as soon as I got that angle, it was like, okay, let me sit down and start writing part of basically a diary of how I approached everything as a producer. It's designed to sort of just give you the more instinctive and emotional approaches to it. So if you don't know production at all, I've written a little glossary, explains what various stages are and that kind of stuff. And it actually goes a little bit beyond because, you might be picking this up and writing an original piece as opposed to London After Midnight, for example.
Yeah.
But I sort of frame the context of, we're doing this, but if doing an original, you wouldn't do that. But that's a little light bulb moment when I went off. So I sat down and wrote some production diaries, and then Kenton said, "Oh, okay, I'll chime in with that as well." So the production diaries will actually be two sets of producers and directors. He's read mine. I haven't read his, so God knows what he says about me. But it will frame production from two, from the viewpoint of two people very much involved with the scripting, directing, casting, producing, studio managing, and that kind of stuff. And hopefully, on one level, it will sort of give you the journey we went on in far more depth than we do with these interviews, but also it will give you an insight into basically how you can start picking up things and start producing for yourself.
Wow.
That would be the dream, because Doctor Who Confidential wasn't put there to inspire 21-year-old me to start producing, but that was the outcome because it was so clear in its messaging. So that became the first part of the book. Then we decided we were going to include the script. We did have conversations about whether to include the original screenplay as well for compare and contrast, but ultimately the decision was this is about our London After Midnight. So, you will get a production script with this book. Oh, and that's when Kenton disappeared and then just dropped this little surprise on us to say, oh, I've also adapted the whole thing into a novella. So in that book, you will get the script, a novella adaptation, and our production diaries and a production glossary to help you if you're looking to get into production as well. So it ends up being this one neat little package. And on top of that as well, because there is such a thing as the internet, we've even done an edition where the audio drama is digitally embedded into the book as well.
Oh my
God.
if
there's any of your listeners who want to do a twofer, they could get the book, production diaries, all that kind of stuff with the audio movie as part of the package as well. So
wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing turnaround. I mean, I know when we discussed on 10 minutes about the fact that you're doing CDs and you're doing vinyl pressings, I'm really focused on having some actual physical media up there.
Yes.
To have a book that can also be like a technical guide and a manual to help others, that's got to be something that's really rewarding to say you've produced for the world.
Absolutely. And it's also fantastic therapy for going through the experience. But yeah, it was like, just trying to demystify the process. I still get a lot of people. I think I get about 20 people a year who email me through a website going, how do I do this? What do I do next? How do I go about it? And I talk in depth about there are current problems with things like monetization, and if I borrow your money to make an audio drama, how do you get your money back? ROI, return on investment, as they call it. There are those issues, but the first part I think is if you have the power to go out and make something and do it well. When I started, we literally found 2 BBC producers who were willing to talk to us, and that's where it began. So I like to think that not only on top of that, in terms of actually delivering a really, really fun, nice, very well received, multi-award winning audio drama, that we could also use those supporting materials to pass the ladder back down.
So good. It's inspiring. It's really got people excited, and now they can go and get a book. I mean, it makes it even more of an exciting journey to go on.
Yeah.
What a great thing to have, something in your hand that you can read and flick through and take information from whilst listening, and just being absorbed in this whole creative experience.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like we the physical media, we weren't actually intending to do CDs. We thought vinyls make sense, collectible, or digital makes sense because it's easy. And no, the C we just went, all right, okay, we'll try 50 CDs and see what happens, and like boom, all gone. They've been like honestly the fastest thing to go off the shelves, and
Wow.
you wouldn't think it. And the day it came out, suddenly like my Twitter account was going off, and people were saying like, I got London After Midnight, a CD, and picture, and I thought, oh god, yeah. So I think you're right there. It's like the audio is incredibly immersive, but I think the cherry on the cake has been us thinking, no, people actually need something else as well, something tangible. I mean, I'm looking behind. I'm very jealous of your Blu-ray box sets behind your head there.
Oh yeah, I've got some nice ones there.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure you've probably got like the Batman series on digital somewhere to pull down.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But to have it in, that physical box set as well, I think it's just a very powerful thing between something you enjoy and
Yeah.
you enjoy and you love, and that's why we want to create these things around it.
I could just imagine having a dedicated shrine on my collection of A London After Midnight with, a vinyl, a CD, a book, some sort of picture, maybe a poster. Who knows? The world's your lobster.
And the other thing that as well, that you talk about that, it's bizarre. I don't know if you saw this, but NECA action figures are actually now releasing a Man in the Beaver Hat action figure.
No.
Yeah. So one is in the post on its way to me now.
What?
Yeah, it's like a Dulux little 8-9 inch figure.
It's exciting.
Interchangeable heads and it's like, yeah, I think somewhere, if this ball really starts rolling, people will have little London After Midnight shelves with the NECA figure standing all next to it and stuff like that.
Already I'm excited. I'm already planning having a vacant space in my display stand to hold this particular figure. Wow, it's going to be sought after. You're talking my language when it comes to collectibles and building collections. I love having like movies and certain bits of memorabilia and like the physical aspect. I like to have a box set in my hand and take the notes out and take the discs out and look at the sleeve, and if there's like any director's comments in there or additional things like a free poster or maybe some sort of bonus stick, whatever it might be, soundtrack perhaps.
Yes.
It's just nice to have those things there to make the experience even more enjoyable.
Indeed. And that's the thing. And it's been one of those projects where it just feels like we can't overshare enough with people. They seem to, want more, enjoy more. So we'll keep giving them more. That's where we roll. I mean, right now Kenton is desperate to pitch to Art a sequel exclusive, which I know everyone would do in a heartbeat. I know everyone would, but we gotta keep making our money back to prove it's viable. But we're only 2.5 months in and we're doing well. So if we can keep that up, keep the ball rolling, then we'll be working on. I'm jokingly calling it London After 2 a.m. But that's not what it is. It's not what it is at all.
Maybe it becomes like one of those weird like American spin-offs, and like you go off to America, America After Midnight, and he's like, there's an American case to solve or something. Oh, have I spoiled something? Uh-oh.
Maybe who knows? But Kenton is out for doing more. I know we could definitely get Art back to do more. What we just need is more people to, as always, we just need to come on here and ask people, please buy a copy at londonaftermidnight.co.uk, please. So we got digital, we got physical, we have the book coming out. It's all this kind of things, as we slowly start expanding more and more around it, and people seem to want it, which is great.
The demand's there.
The demand is there, and we've had, I can't remember at this point where we were at, but we had Kim Newman, who's the UK's leading horror expert. He got a copy and he loved it.
Okay.
Christopher Robert Cargill, who did Doctor Strange and Black Phone, he heard it, he loved it. Jed Shepard, horror director working with Sam Raimi, he got a copy, he loved it. Do you know what I mean? We know GDPR prevents me from saying any more than this. We know a cast member of Star Trek The Next Generation got a copy.
Oh, really?
Can't
say much more than that, though.
can't say who it was, because that would give it away. But we know there is at least one member of the Starship Enterprise walking around with a copy of London After Midnight out there.
Oh, epic. It's amazing.
Yes. I wish they'd say something. Come on, just endorse it. So yes, just seems to have been extraordinary that it's hit every person in the right spot, the right feels for whatever reason. And the other thing we have to be careful what we say here
Mm.
is that a lot of people have listened to it and come back and said, I had to go back and listen to it again straight away because ...
Okay.
And I went, okay, yeah, that tells me Joe Lidster, who's written, Doctor Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jones, he was like literally on Instagram going, I literally had to listen through it twice just to check I got it right the first time. And he said, yeah, and it absolutely holds up, didn't see it coming, that kind of stuff. So, and that's the fun thing as well. This film contains plot twists that are almost 100 years old. And yet for a lot of people, it's all absolutely brand new.
It's praise to you all. Obviously, yourself
Mm.
and everyone that's been involved, the whole production aspect of it, putting this to the world. It's a mammoth undertaking and one that's come across really well. And it's still being gratefully received and praised as it should be.
Oh, thank you. It's you can't hope. What I mean is you can hope for that, but you can never believe that is going to be the thing. You know what I mean? I'm sure the next thing's now going to be totally critically mauled and absolutely destroyed. But yeah, honestly, the response by anyone who's heard it has just been so extraordinary, and it just it gets you in the feels when you hear that someone just gave it a go, whatever, heard of the title, that it's a vague thing, and they walk around going, oh God, this rips, or we got a lot of F-bombs.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably the piece I've done with the most number of F-bombs in response from people who've heard it. So yeah, I mean, what more can we say other than it's there. We want to grow it now. Need to nurture it, looking after it. It's doing very, very well on the festival circuit, and we've had a couple of sideways inquiries. It's probably too early to talk about that, but audio might not be where it ends. Lance also has a plan. He wants to take it into the graphic novel arena, which would be I've never read a graphic novel, so I'm like, yep, sure, good luck, off you go. So graphic novels potentially, yes. The book is coming, yes, but maybe what I'm saying is, as a sort of audience-based medium, the audio version, I suspect right now, may not be the end.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that there's still more to come in whatever form it takes.
Hmm.
I wonder though, because it's still quite fresh and new and it's still at its infancy.
Yes.
When you get to a milestone such as a year, 2 years, 10 years, will there be one of those, always in demand director's cuts being released?
Oh, good question. Well, the short answer is we couldn't do an extended cut or anything like that because there is literally nothing barring some lines were tightened up for timing. That's it.
Okay, fair enough.
Or alternative versions of scenes where the sound design, because it's spatial sound we were working in with the Atmos, things were designed a little bit differently in terms of the way people move. And I don't think that's particularly interesting for people.
Maybe the bloopers then?
Maybe actually, I have asked Lance about doing the bloopers, which would be a laugh because you very rarely get the bloopers from audio drama sessions. But I actually weirdly in the foreword of my book, I actually talk about this is where London Nights started. This is where it's ended up, and literally I had to put down I think put down the foreword sort of like mid-October or something like that, and said that's it, I'm done. But at the end of it, I said, I've honestly got no idea where you might be, because one of the funs of writing is the fact that everything is a voice from the past talking to the present.
Yeah.
And you don't know how far into the future there could literally be someone sitting on whatever the equivalent is of the USS Enterprise reading the London After Midnight book.
Wow.
300 years in the future, reading our voices, right? So weirdly, that part of it does prey on my mind where it might be a year from now or 5 years from now. But what we do for it, don't know yet, because we can't do an extended edit. The sound design is probably going to be gold standard for at least the next 15 years by being Atmos. I guess it just might be about whether, let's find out 3 years in the future. Are we on our 4th London After Midnight audio drama series, or has it become something else? Blumhouse, you can call us, we can franchise it. So, is it that, I think at this point we can curate this as much as we can right now But where it goes from here, I think it's one of those beasts that's going to have a mind of its own.
I mean, it's just been such a great journey, and it's barely begun. I can only just see success just continuing and continuing and continuing on and on and on with this great project.
Thank you.
It's really great that you've taken the time out of your day, especially because, listeners, Jack's been suffering with a bit of ill health. I won't disclose what he's going through because a gentleman never discusses their ailments, but he was feeling a bit poorly.
something dark side.
I've taken the time out during this getting better phase of his evening to chat to me. It's greatly received. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you to come back and chat. And like I say, London After Midnight is a great project, a great thing to listen to. Go and find whatever media version you can, folks, and consume this amazing piece of art.
Thank you.
Because it's here for the long term and anyone can enjoy it. Just go be immersed in a spooky tale with great quality.
Well, I should say, today, I forgot that as well. We ended up in Dark Side magazine. And then, so if you're in W.H. Smith's in the February edition, be the March edition, wouldn't it? Because the month ahead. You can find us in Dark Side magazine there right now. I've got to get a copy tomorrow. Walk down there.
Wow.
So
get down to your newsagents or your Smiths now and get one.
Yeah.
And read it and enjoy it and just follow the trails of this highly successful project.
Yes.
You'll sign it. I'm getting one.
I'll autograph it for anyone. Yes. But also, do come check us out, londonaftermidnight.co.uk. That's where you'll find our new landing page now. That'll take you to a Bandcamp for the digital and physical, where our partners are. And that's the place to be. Come support brilliant art, please.
Do it. I couldn't have put it better myself. Thank you very much for your time, Jack.
You're very welcome.
Listeners, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I will be speaking to you again soon.
Absolutely.
Have a great day going forward.
Okay, no worries. Thank you, Davey. I love being on this show.
Good. Come back anytime.
I will.
As long as it's not after midnight.
Oh.
I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah, have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Don't forget, folks, you can follow me on the socials at DaveyATalks. Do get in touch with your opinions on the topics I'm talking about. Let me know if there's a specific topic you want to talk about, or if you want to be a guest. By all means, I'm welcome to anyone coming on and chatting with me. Reach out at DaveyATalks. And I'll speak to you next time. Take care.